All right, everybody, welcome. We are here at the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan. This is a local museum that is dedicated to Henry Ford in the Detroit area. So we're going to take you guys on a tour. We're going to walk around, show you some cool exhibits. So let's go. Alright, well, let's start right off here in the Made in American section here. There's a couple cool things here that we can look, see and check out. If you look up top here, you can see they have a conveyor belt. It goes all the way through here, this whole exhibit here, just to show you how the assembly line actually worked out here. And this is a really, really cool exhibit. So this is a totally dissected vehicle here. Really neat how they have it all strung up here. So this is a Model T. Super old school. Exploded Model T. And here's a display of some clocks, clockmakers and their clocks. Some of the tools that they used to make the clocks back in the day. Pretty cool to see the insides of them, how intricate it really was. So along one of these displays here, I found something kind of really interesting here. It said $5 a day. In 1914, Henry Ford announced that's $5 a day. So you get $5 a day to work in the factory in 1914. Man, how times have changed. Alright, over in this section you can see here they have new gadgets, things that products that promoted throughout the years. Flat iron, meat grinder. I still see people use these meat grinders. There's a coffee mill. Really neat, cool, old school fireplaces and stoves. Products and promotions. So these are some of the new things between the 1850s and the 1900s that were mass produced. Sewing machines, big old wheeled bicycles, there's fans up top here, Chester drawers, garden benches, standing corner shelves. Man, I think I still know some people who have those, or you could find those even at a Goodwill right now. Have to keep a lookout for those. And then over here it shows you some of the new goods and new styles back in that era. A lot of silver plating. Look at this vacuum cleaner here. 1890 vacuum cleaner. And you got oil lamps. So this is a really cool section over here. These are some of the presses and new mills and things that they created over the years to help make things a little bit easier, and new inventions such as electrical wires, braiding them, silver plating, things like that. You can see here this is kind of like a printing press. So weave over here, come over this way, more presses to press things with and all that. Milling over here. Just huge, gigantic pieces of equipment that they used to use back in the day. And then over here they have, these are mowers and seeders from back in the day. So I figured these used to get drawn by horse. And you can see there they got the little clippers there. Definitely can't imagine using one of these to do an episode of Zcaders Cuts the Grass. That's for sure. So this is pretty cool. This is some of the things that they used to use to make the car parts on that. There's lathe, pinion cutters, automatic screw machines, drill presses. But you can see how, I don't know how to say it, rustic you want to say, and old and vintage that these are kind of are, compared to the way that they probably do them today. Probably much more efficient today, but this is where it all started from right here. Another section they have over here, fabric factories. This is called a throstle machine. So what this does is it creates a bunch of different, takes the yarn, the raw yarn from the back, and it boils it down and it creates it down into different sizes. You can see here the different fineness and the different width of the yarn that it separates it into. Can't even imagine how this machine kind of sounded going back and forth like it did, super loud. And then this one over here is another machine over here. This one you can see, this one is a power loom. So you can see here that the fabrics all come together. And I'm guessing that that's belt driven. I can kind of see a belt drive over there. So at one point they probably had a belt drive going, and that would make this fabric here that you see here. Just a really cool step back in time here when you come here. You can see some of the primitive woodworking equipment that they have here. This was a giant belt sander here, so they had a belt that went around it. You can see here, this is a lathe that they have here, big steel driven lathe. Back there they have like a planer to plane the wood back here. And then you can see here, this is a gigantic bandsaw that they have here. It's just, I can't tell you guys how heavy this equipment just looks to be able to move around and to be able to operate compared to what we have today. You got to give those guys a lot of credit for what they did back in the day. And over here they have some metal working equipment. So these are gear cutters, a metal lathe, a metal plater, drill presses. So these are all the things. Look at how thick that drill is. So these are all things, these are definitely all belt driven equipment that they had here. And just the girth of these things, it's heavy, heavy metal here, everyone. This stuff was meant to last for a very, very long time. Here's a really cool display of old telephones back in the day. I'm literally holding and recording on a phone right now, and I can't imagine just the innovation and how far we have come with phone technology from where it all started at. Definitely remember these kinds of phones here, that's 100% for sure. But we got like the first Motorola here. You come all the way back down over here. Some very, very fancy ones that they have here. Even down to the old school flip phones and the old Radio Shack phones. Man, how times have changed.
Ready?
So one fun thing that they definitely do have here, and one of my favorite YouTubers, he finds them all the time and he collects them, Jacob the Carpetbagger. They have a lot of Mold-A-Rama machines here, so they're $5 a piece to get them done. But this one has a antique 1914 automobile that you can get into it. So these are all over the place. And if you really wanted to collect them all, I'm not sure how many, let's see, they have the map here. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 of them here. So it would cost me $50 to get all these Mold-A-Ramas. But it's really cool to see these because I know these are older and vintage, and to see them up and still running and working is really, really cool. And then over here they have just how to build a Model T. So they kind of have a checklist here, but they have a fully assembled Model T here. Black, which I think might have been the only color that you could probably get it in back in the day. Beautiful car though. Right, let's enter with liberty and justice for all. So they do have some very historical things here as well too. They have the Stamp Act here. So this is the original copy of the 1765 Stamp Act here. So the Stamp Act was, the British were charging them for every kind of piece of paper, everything that they printed so this is an act to fight that. But it's really cool to see something all the way from 1765. And the printing and the text, the font, it's really, really neat. And it would not be a historical museum that they did not have a copy of the Declaration of Independence. Not really sure if this is a real or if this is a copy. Not 100% sure because it really doesn't say it in the description, but always got to have a Declaration of Independence here. So over here in this section they have like a road dedicated to George Washington, and they also have some really cool, these are military letters that were actually handwritten by George Washington and signed. It's hard to believe that things like this actually stand the test of time. And then over here they actually have, this is actually a used folding camp bed used by George Washington between 1775 and 1785. How rare of a find is that, to actually find the bedroll that he actually used while he was in the military. All right, everybody, I know this place has some really unique and cool things here, but one thing that they do have here, this is the actual chair that Abraham Lincoln was sitting in on April 14th, 1865, when he was at the Ford Theater and shot. So this is the actual rocking chair that he was sitting on while he was assassinated. Kind of blown away by that. Did not expect to find something like that here. Like I said, I know they have a lot of cool, unique things here, but this is a little chilling a little bit. There we go. Here's another really cool section, fully furnished. So these are some of the actual furniture and furnishings of the homes of the past. So I'll give you a little bit of a tour here and show you some of these cool things. So here's a bunch of chairs that they have here. None of these chairs are older than 1780. So a lot of these are really, really old chairs. I take that back. Number one, the side chair there is from 1805. But you can definitely see some of the different characteristics and styles. And just, this one's a little wore down for sure, but it still just blows my mind that some of these things still exist from that time frame. Some more things. There's a desk and a little end table here, and that rocking chair is super, super unique. What is that? Rocking chair from 1865 to 1875. You can just see how rustic, super cool it is. And I definitely know that gentleman. Portrait of Mark Twain that's up there. These are more from the 1800s, later 1800 era here. More desks. And you just see the woodwork, the workmanship in it, just really, really good quality. And then over here they have some more things, some matching chairs, sets, more things that go together a little bit. That's really, really cool. The old plasticky look. And then look at these old high chairs that they have here. I can't even imagine the safety precautions on some of the high chairs these days, and just to think about what they actually used to be. Just crazy, everyone. Another cool exploding display here. They actually have a chair, a lounge chair and ottoman that are exploded, so you can actually see how they're put together. I love the explosion looks that they have here. And then we are going to walk backwards on this section here, but we'll start off here with some things here. These are from the 80s. Some of the things from the 80s and the 70s. That is a really cool chair. I would love to have that chair. This is at number 7, a coconut chair from 1955. The table's really unique. And then you can see we'll walk down this way here, and you can see some of it changes as we go down. You can definitely see some of the styles that change and the different unique patterns and how they kind of go back to the woodworking days. This is the new Greek era, the romantic and exotic era. You can just see how detailed they actually are. Look at the intricacy in the inlays. And then these are 1790s to 1820s. You can see kind of a little more primitive. They really didn't have too much showmanship back in the day. As long as it just looked like it stayed together, it worked for them. Here's a really, really cool display by Charles and Ray Eames, I'm guessing here. Charles and Ray Eames met in 1940 at the Cranbrook Academy of Art in Bloomfield Hill, Michigan. By the time Charles was born in 1907, he had worked as an architect. They ended up getting married, and then these are some of the designs of the chairs that they have here. So this is, you can see here the plastic here, and then this is the press that they actually press them in to make those plastic chairs. And you can see the different shapes and designs, and I know we have all seen these different kinds of chairs in here. So these guys were the innovators of these chairs here. And we all remember seeing back in the day. That one's even got a rocking chair on it. So really cool display. Alright, so they also have an agricultural department over here as well too. So got some old vintage tractors here as well. So different things. Agriculture is definitely a huge part in Michigan. I know that for sure, living around where I live at. I know corn's a huge part. But let's take a look at some of these different pieces of equipment they have here. Coming over on this section here, they got definitely some old school equipment here. Farmalls. Looks like they got some different kinds of cream separator there. You separate your creams. Electric gasoline engine. Cool old windmill that generated power back there. A gem grain grinder, so that grinded your grain for you here. So they got another backhoe up here as well. It's just the primitiveness of the equipment that they used back in the day. Like I said, some of these things are computer generated and satellite generated nowadays on it, so. Oh my gosh, I had no idea that this is going to be here. It's the Wienermobile, everybody. 1952 Wienermobile. What a great classic vehicle here. Oscar Mayer. Okay, back to the sport farm equipment here. I did not know that Wienermobile was going to be there, so that was definitely a distraction there. So you can see some of the older equipment that they have here. Cotton gins, a bean scale, cotton pickers. And over here they have some more just massive pieces of equipment that they have in here. Can't believe, imagine the person who has to come through every so often and dust all this equipment. That has to be a task for sure. There's another really cool display I have here. This is a kiosk from the IBM Pavilion at the 1964 New York World's Fair. So this is one of the last of the pavilions from that 64 fair that actually still exists. There's a few smaller structures, they say, but this is one of the main kiosks that everybody would come to for the World's Fair. Another really neat, interesting display that they have here. This is the heating stove. So these are some of the creative and innovative stoves and fireplaces that they had back in the day to help keep everything warm. The intricacy on some of these are pretty amazing on it. Some of the work, and then some of them are just plain Jane and functional as they can possibly be, but definitely a lot of workmanship in these, and you can definitely tell who had the money and who didn't have the money depending on how intricate your heating supply was. I mean, look at that one. That one's really crazy how detailed that one is. Alright, right on the other side, there are some more farm stuff over there as well too, but these are doll houses that they have on display here. I did not know that these were going to be here as well, but they definitely decked out for the holiday season. You can see inside of there, they're very intricate, very detailed doll houses. That one's massive. Look how big this one is, everyone. It just continues to go around. There's no inside of it. I wonder if you can open it up on top and actually see inside of there, but there's nothing really in the display itself. So just a huge dollhouse. They have a few more of them over here. You can see the detail of them inside of there. How they're all set up for Christmas. There's a Christmas tree in that one over here. Snow all around. This one's kind of cool. This one's kind of like a more modern style building. And a little side lot on it. I think the other side. Yep, it's a cutout from the other side. So it's two buildings in one, kind of like a duplex apartment. And then here's another huge, massive one. This is an English Revival dollhouse. The staircase is really unique how it goes through the other side of there. You know they're creepy.
That's cool. Look, you want to talk about a cool dollhouse? Look at the picture.
Super cool, neat display they have here. Another display that they have here is kind of like four-way cutout here, but these are kitchens. So this is the kitchen from 1840. This is what a kitchen from typical 1840s kitchen would look like here. move along here. Changes time a little bit, and we move on to, this is 1890s kitchen, so you can see some more modernization with some things in there. The clock, the lamp, the stove is a little more intricate. There's actually like a wash bin area over here. And then we move on over to this side, and this is the early 1930s. There's a refrigerator there, definitely a cool stove looking there, actual working sink, iron board, and electricity.
Something actually bigger.
Oh, and then we kind of went backwards. We should have went to this one first on here, but this is the 1700s. So this is your typical kitchen in the 1700s. So there's literally just a fireplace. You could spin some yarn if you would want to, and that's about it, everyone. You have to cook everything that you make and eat everything that you make for the day, for sure. Oh, look, we found another colorama. Which one is this? Oh, it's the Wienermobile. That would be cool. If I got any one of them, it'd probably be definitely the Wienermobile I want to get. Another display they have here. These are some of the outfits. Off to work we go outfits on here. I just thought this one was really neat. This is a 1978 Dairy Queen outfit. Need to bring those back. Something I have very little knowledge about. Let's go check out some mathematics and get our minds blown. So this is projective geometry. So all of these shapes here kind of look all this crazy and combobulated the way they are and everything else like this. But I tested this earlier, so see if we can line it up right here right now. There you go. That's a little bit. If you look into it, it actually makes a whole picture. And then these cones here, these cones kind of look like normal cones, but if you look through one perspective of it, you can actually see there's a guy in the one top cone. And I don't know if I can get it in there. There you go. You can see something in that one down there. Kept hearing this thing in the background on here, but this is a probability machine. So what this does is it drops the balls down here and it projects the probability. And if you notice, it actually follows the curve that is actually written on there. So this will continue to fill up on here, and then it will all drop down. It'll start over again, and no matter how many times you do it, it'll actually continue to follow this curve all the way around. And of course, it would not be a tour of Henry Ford if there was not some vehicles on display here. So there is a whole bunch of displays that they have here on presidential cars, things like this. This is actually Reagan's car, President Reagan's car, 1972 Lincoln, used from 1972 to 1992. Kind of interesting. You can see the handlebars for the guys to ride up on and hang on to. And it is heavily, heavily bulletproof. You can definitely see on top there. This thing is a beast. It probably weighs a ton. Right, and then right next to the Reagan car, this is the Kennedy car. So this is a 1961 Lincoln Continental. And I'm pretty sure that this is the actual car that he was assassinated in. I'm not sure. Let me check into that. Okay, I definitely just wanted to double check and make sure, but yeah, this is the actual car that President Kennedy was assassinated in. It says here, the modern new four-door convertible seemed well suited to young, forward-looking thinking president, but tragedy struck when President Kennedy was assassinated in November 1963 while riding in this car through the streets of Dallas, Texas. So another bone-chilling discovery here. We got Lincoln's assassination chair, and then this is the actual vehicle that President Kennedy was assassinated in. All right, move a little bit farther down here. This is a 1950 Lincoln. This is the bubble top that was used by Dwight D. Eisenhower. You can see the top on it, got that definite bubble top, bulletproof on there. A little handle that you can stand up in and grab onto and hold to, with a bulletproof thing in the front there. What a crazy design on it, but a super cool car. You see they got the steps here, an extended bumper for the steps for the guys to ride on the back on. And we just keep going on here. This is another one. This is Franklin Delano Roosevelt's car. This is the Sunshine Special 1939 Lincoln. What a beautiful car. This thing is massively huge. See, it's got probably the suicide doors that open up that way on it, but this is a gigantic car, everyone. I can't even imagine the kind of gas mileage that this thing did not get. You see, it's also got the bumpers in the back there for them to stand on. Police do not pass. Beautiful, huge old car. And this will be our last presidential vehicle that they have here. This is actually Teddy Roosevelt's horse-drawn carriage that he had here. So I don't know how bulletproof this thing actually is, or how secure this thing actually is. But really crazy, really unique. Just to see the innovation of how far cars for presidents have actually came. It looks pretty sturdy, that's for 100% for sure. Glass front, the bench seat in front for a coachman. And this is actually used in 1902. Geez, I did not expect to walk up on this. It's been a very, very long time since I've actually been here, but they actually have trains here. This is a gigantic train setup they have here. So you got your older style steam train here with the older style coach wagons, things like that. And then this thing is just gigantically massive, everyone. I cannot tell you how big this thing is. Just the gear works and it is gigantic. This thing is just massive, everybody. And over here you got these are really cool. They're like stagecoach trains here. And then they have different lines up. I just can't, look how far that actually goes. That goes forever long, everyone. Really should come back here more often. That's definitely one thing you should learn. Visit your local museums, because you never know. Things that you visited in the past just bring back great memories, so always visit your local museums. And some more train cars here as well. Very interesting. This is a refrigerated car from way back in the day. Fruit Growers Express. So even back then they had refrigerator trucks that they had very well insulated. This is a very, very ornate train car here as well too. And over here you got cabooses. That's one thing you'd never see on a train anymore, is cabooses. Let me know the last time you guys have ever seen a caboose on a train, because I know that was always the signing of the end of the train, but you do not see those anymore. Wow, this is massive here. This is a gigantic snow plow for a train. And you can see they hook it up in the front there. This thing pushes it, and this is, I can't even fathom to you guys how tall that is. Hang on, let me turn it around real quick. It's huge. It's gigantic. But I guess they definitely need to clear the tracks out. I know there's some other cars that we're definitely going to go take a look at here, but they have some older cars here as well too, back over this way. There's vintage cars all over the place in here. All the way down to Duesenbergs, Model J's. Like I said, this is just an amazing display of a lot of vehicles on here. So we'll get to all those for sure, because there's some ones over there we definitely got to get to, but let's get all these little things first here. Nope, another display that I did not expect to come up here. This is a Michigan Lego Users Group. This is a big, gigantic Lego display that they have here. Those buildings are huge, everyone. It takes a lot of work to get all those done and all those. Some of these are the ones that we saw from the Monroe County Fair. So if you remember, or if you watched the video at the Monroe County Fair, I'm pretty sure this is the same group because I recognize some of the things. Like they have the American Coney Island one there. They have a 7-Eleven. So I do recognize some of these, but some of them are definitely different. And like they've added more or brought more. But just super intricate, really cool work. Guy over here. Different signs all over the place. Ships, churches. That one's really cool back there. Kind of looks like the Slurpee display. And the battleship is really cool. That's massive. But really cool. All right, I know I've been excited about this, so let's definitely check out some of these cars they have here. 1957 DeSoto Fireflight hardtop. Love the old school Holiday Inn sign, so vintagey. We had a Holiday Inn in Monroe for the longest time, and I remember that sign 100% for sure. Some of the older cars they have here. Holiday Inn greeting sign, 1952 to 1982, and they definitely changed it. I know that's for sure. And what a beautiful sign. I love the glow of it. And this is a 1955 Corvette Roadster. Another beautiful car that they have here. A lot of these cars, I'm not gonna lie, all these cars are beautiful here. That's 100% for sure. But some of them just definitely stand out a little bit more than the other ones. Kind of a really cool display. Another one here they have. This is what your typical Holiday Inn room would look like here. So this is 1965. This is the renovations of the Holiday Inn in 1965. Like everyone an ashtray. Can't smoke in hotels anymore, but 100% brick stucco. You can see the TV back here with the antennas, the bathrooms. Look at the rugs, the shag rugs on it. I can definitely say I've stayed at a few hotels that look about the same these days. And here's another display of some of the old roadside lodgings that they used to have in here. So they were just kind of like normal shacks here. Came with a bed, looks like a little stove to keep yourself warm, a couple chairs and a dresser. And that was pretty much it. And you just pretty much paid to stay on the roadside. And these were tourist cabins that were about 1936, it says here, that you could find all alongside the roadside. And then if you didn't want to stay at either a Holiday Inn or one of the roadside things here, they had different campers that they have here from back in the day. So this is a 1959 Volkswagen Westafila. Super decked out. Got a really cool camping thing inside of there. Looks like it's got a kitchenette. Everything back there. And then good old 1949 Airstream. Kind of see in there, not too much. It's got some screens on it, but I love the old retro look of it. And then look at this old school pop-up tent, Camp Wahoo. So this is a 1927 Gilkey tent trailer. So this is kind of probably one of the very first pop-up tents that they ever had. Pop-up campers anyway. It is super easy to get kind of sidetracked with all these other different cool things that they have going on here. So trying to keep everything in line here, but this is the on the road section here. 1956 Ford Thunderbird. Super beautiful classic old car here. That is a toll booth. It's a Marriott Parkway toll booth from the 1950s. You can see there. Drive on up, pay your toll. Nowadays, they just take pictures of your license and they send you a bill pretty much anymore. So this is another vehicle they have here. It's a 1919 Ford Model T. Another simple, beautiful car, all in black like they always have. And then this is a 1903 Packard Model F Runabout. You can see this is definitely a barn find that they just left dirty. Or maybe they intentionally made it dirty, but this is out of Warren, Ohio, it says on it. Cool old school car. All right, back over here in the car section, and like I said, there are a bunch more cars over here. So you got an 1896 Ricker electric tricycle. Kind of one of the first very electric vehicles on there. That's pretty crazy. Got a 1916 Woods dual power hybrid coupe. I wonder if this is the electric section. We have alternative power options. That's amazing. That's a 1980 Kumatra car, electric runabout. I love that car. I would love to have that car right now. And we got a little more modern one here. This is a EV1 electric coupe, General Motors, 1997. Look at the keypads. Remember when keypads were super cool and that was the main thing? Some of the, even way back then, they had alternative power, wanting to use electricity. And then over here they have some different other vehicles as well too. This is a steam car. So this is a steam vehicle. It's a 1907 white model steam touring car. And then over here they have, this is an engine. This is a rotary engine. Rotary engines are really popular nowadays, I noticed. And this is a gas turbine sedan, 1963 gas turbine sedan. So everybody's always looking for different alternatives than the gas, but gas always seems to win out. And then here they have some alternatives to cars as well too. They have a Segway motorcycle, classic bikes, and then you come over on this section over here and they have family cars. So these are some of the family cars. So this is a 1904 Packard Model L touring car. It's an expensive car, everyone. Look at all the work that is done into that car, even back then. So we got a 1918 Overlaid Model 90B touring car. And then we're going to get a little more modern over here. We've got a 1950 Plymouth Deluxe Suburban, one of the first Suburbans. I like that car. That's a really cool looking car. And then we move on to a very classic, 100% for sure, the Plymouth Voyager, 1984. I know everybody who is watching this in my age group and time frame, or even today, still remembers the Plymouth Voyager, or knew somebody who had a Plymouth Voyager. But this one is in amazing shape. You can still rock that thing right now. And they have a couple public transit vehicles here. This is a 1981 Checker Marathon taxi cab. And then over here they have a Texaco display here. So it's got a fuel truck here, Texaco fuel truck. It's a 1939 Dodge Airway tanker truck. A really cool old Texaco signs there. And then they have some pumps over here as well too. And then they have like a mock Texaco station over here, and it's got a little garage inside of there. It's got interactive things that the kids can do with a car up top there. And then there's a couple more gas pumps there. Over in this section they talk about the safety of vehicles on here. So over there they have some child seats that they used to have back in the day. That one's got a head restraint on it right there. And then some of the different things, bucket seats, center seats. That's a crazy contraption right there. A 1957 Cornell Liberty safety car. I guess they kind of designed this to be as safe as possible. It's got a panoramic windshield on it, steering handles instead of a wheel, front seat passenger restraints, center driving seat, bucket seats. So they went all out on safety on this one. And here's a better look at the fuel pumps that they have set up over here. It's Cool lights on them. Texaco gas station. So these are about 1940, they say. And then inside here, like I said, they have the nice cool little interaction thing for the kids. They got tires and engine parts, things like that, more interactive displays. Got a cool car up top here that they can look at. Something cool for the kids to do. Here's a couple more classic cars. Look at that. That's a 1986 Ford Taurus sedan. That is a beautiful, beautiful car. And in my lifetime, I have definitely owned a few Tauruses. I've had 3 Tauruses in my lifetime, and I loved every one of them. But that's really cool to see a 1986 Ford Taurus. And then here we have a 1965 Mustang convertible, muscle car. Everybody loves a good old Mustang. It's beautiful with the white and the black on the inside, but I cannot get over that Taurus. That Taurus is amazing. Alright, we're at one of those crossroads again. I don't know if I need to go that way or if I need to go that way, but let's check this car out real quick while we're here. Looks like a race car. 1966 Ford Galaxy. So this is a NASCAR car that they have here that was supposedly breaking barriers with the way it was. And then this is a cool display that they have here. This is Drive to Win Racing in America. So this is a bunch of displays with race car vehicles that they have over the years. So this is a Ford 99. This is a 1902 Ford 99. If that ain't a rustic, just a beast with a wooden frame on it, and there's your steering, is your 2 little knobs back and forth. If that thing didn't have to be the most scariest thing that you ever think ever, I don't know what would be. The top mileage they said was 54 miles an hour on that thing. And then we come over here, rest in peace Ken Block. Move over here, we've got a 2012 Ford Fiesta ST. And that's a beautiful car right there. And I think there's actual footage of him actually, I think that's Detroit. He actually did like a little driving seminar in Detroit, like a thing for Red Bull, but beautiful car right there. So this is one of the vehicles that the Bonneville Speedway, Bonneville Salt Flats. You can see here, this is kind of a display of what it looks like. But this is where they try and do the land speed records all the time with some of these vehicles. So this is a 1965 Goldenrod. Held the land speed record for more than 25 years, it says here, at 409 miles. 409 miles per hour this car went. You can see right back here's a little cockpit where this hits here. And you were just there. That's you. Here's all the engine on that thing for you. It's just a massive vehicle. And over here they have another one here. This is another one that they use at the Bonneville Speed Flats. So this is a 1951 Betty Belly tank. So they actually take the tankers from planes, the fuel tanks, and they actually turn them into vehicles on here. And this one says it actually got up to 243 miles an hour in 1962. Another death trap on wheels. All right, over here we got one of my favorite cars of all times. I know this is a Ford GT 500. Super fast car. I actually got a chance to ride one of these, one of the newer models, when I worked for a car dealership way back in the day. But when they first did the relaunch on those, we actually had a customer who ordered one through us, and we actually got to take a test drive in it to make sure everything was okay, in air quotes. And what a fast car. And then over this way we have some more Pikes Peak International Hill Climb racing cars here. This is a 1958 Moore Unser, but that's got a lot of power on that. You can see that. That thing looks amazing to do some hill climbs on. And we got some more over here. It's a 1960 Muskowski. So we got another fuel racing car here as well too. AJ Foyt actually drove this one, so it's a classic car by AJ Foyt. I know he's a super popular racing legend for sure. And we got a couple more over here. These are some from the Indianapolis 500. So that's a 1935 Miller Ford V8. And then over here we got the Mark 84C Costworth 1984. So this is more like the normal Formula One cars that you would see, but even back in 1984, still kind of looks crazy. Pretty cool here. I didn't notice this well too. This is actually a brick from the Indianapolis Speedway on here. So right at the beginning and at the end of the racetrack there in Indianapolis, it's all made of brick right here. So this is an actual brick from there. So I figured they replace them every so often, but kind of cool. You just touch the brick. And then over here they have a section dedicated to the pit crews and all the equipment that they wear. So some of the equipment that they wear, some actually equipment from some of the racers here. Armani Williams, Danica Patrick, and then it brings it over here to the different things for the pit crew area. So they actually have a pit crew challenge that you can do here. We definitely can't do that right now because I don't have anybody to hold the camera, but it looks like you can jack the car up. You can boom, boom, take the wheels off, and then it gives you a time on there. And then over here they have another setup here too. So I bet you they do a challenge here where they actually have two people or two teams go against each other on here. But really cool interactive thing here to do. And then over here in this section we have a Ford Fusion, Daytona's youngest winner of 2011 here. So you can still see it's kind of crazy. If you look in the picture here, you can see the confetti, and there's actually still confetti on the car from the actual win. And over here they got some drag cars. Y'all know we like our drag cars ever since we started going to the Mile and Dragway. Got a new fascination for drag cars. So this is a Gastro GT. These are those really, really fast ones where you see when they go spin, the tires balloon up. And then this one over here, and this is definitely an oldie but a goodie one over here. So this is a 1933 Willys Gasser. What a beautiful car that is. That thing probably gets up and goes too on it. 160 miles an hour is the top speed on this one. And this one over here is a 1989 Top Fuel Dragster, 296 miles an hour. That's how fast this one goes here. What's this say here? Get your hands dirty, smell. The day of the track is full of sound smell. Yeah, I know, definitely know. Ooh, yeah, I definitely know that smell. That's burnt rubber and gasoline. I am quite familiar with that smell. Let's start off on the right way this time. I think we got to go this way and then back around this way. So here are a couple examples of some engines. 1925, 1931. There's a small block. And then we're going to start coming and getting into some cars here. So we got a 1932 Ford V8 Cabriolet. And then moving on down farther a little bit here, we've got a 1930 Ford Model A. This is a touring car that they have here. And then we'll come down a little bit farther. It's a 1914 Model T touring car. And then we got a 1908 Ford Model S Roadster here. Love the red. The red's super beautiful. And then this thing is crazy looking with the huge canopy on it like it has on it. So it's a 1905 Ford Model B touring car. This is a fancy one here. That one probably cost a pretty penny. $2,000. Wow. Yeah, that one's definitely a pretty penny there for sure. And then over here we've got a 1903 Ford Model A Runabout. And that one would run you about $850. This is a 2010 Edson 2. This is a more than 100 miles per gallon. Wow, could you imagine 100 miles per gallon on a vehicle like this? Crazy looking car. The wheels on it are really nuts. So this is kind of cool. This reminds me of Speed Racer 100%, but this is a 1962 Mustang I Roadster. So this is a concept car that they had that never came to production. But you can definitely see some of the influences of the 500 for sure. But man, what a beautiful looking car. It actually looks like Mach 1 from Speed Racer. Go Speed Racer, go! And then back there in the back there, it's a 1937 LaSalle Coupe. There's a 1932 Ford V8. And then we've got a 1924 Essex Coach sedan in the back there. And then a 1924 Chevrolet touring car. I love the red on these older cars. I think it just makes it pop and look really, really cool. Back in the back there, the 1909 Ford Model T touring car. And then we got a 1906 Ford Model T N runabout. And then that one back there, it's a 1903 Holzman runabout. That is a fancy, fancy car, everyone, with that ivory white and the trim and all the brass on it. That one definitely had to set. Only $675. Wow. Well, I guess back in 1903, that was quite a bit of money. And then this is a 1906 Thomas Flyer. And then we've got a 1903 Oldsmobile Roundabout. And this is a 1899 Lincoln Roundabout. Look at the steering wheel up top there. Super unique. And then we've got a 1901 Columbian Victoral back there. That's an electric one. And this is a 1896 Runabout Durian. That looks like an electric one too there. And this is a 1896 Ford Quad Cycle Runabout. So, a lot of super, super cool, unique cars here, everyone. And then super cool, I'm so glad that somebody has kept some of these on here, but look at this old McDonald's sign. An old McDonald's sign, an old White Castle stained glass, A&W. They got old, look like another hamburger there. They're gonna have the fair sign there. But what a great car. Then you got a 1956 Chevrolet Barrel sitting in there. It's like they got an actual diner back there that you can get upside there and eat. It's an actual booth cart. And then over here, what kind of vehicle we have over here? This looks like a 1951 Studebaker Champion Straight. But I love that sign. That sign is amazing. I love the neon. And then ironically enough, right across from all the blinking lights, they have some stagecoaches here. So some actual stagecoaches. There's a horse-drawn streetcar. And then there's another one down over in this way on there. All right, I think we're on to our last display here. So I think this is Heroes in the Sky. So this is going to be an aviation display here. So let's check out some airplanes. So who knew that Ford was actually into airplanes as well too? This is a 1926 Ford Flavier. So this is made out of wood, ash, spruce, steel tubes, and fabric. Weighed about 350 pounds. So another massive airplane they have here. This is Henry Ford's airplane. This is actually the Tin Goose. So this is all metal aircraft that Henry Ford has here. And you can see it. It's just kind of like all sheet metal. And you can actually see there. It is a massive, massive plane there. And then over on this side here, they have a 1927 Boeing 40 B-2, another gigantic plane here. I guess I don't really get too close to planes, and I've never flown in my life anyway to actually realize how big some of these things actually have to be to take off and fly and actually carry the cargo that they carry. So it was a really cool experience. I guess this is what it's like to board an airplane. So since I've never been on an airplane, let's go check out a Boeing 737 1967 here. And you can see they have the seat setups here. They got the fake windows and the fake noise. Let's grab a seat here. Oh, nice. Not too bad. Is that really a cell phone? That is an old phone right there. They got the sound effects, and look, we're taking off, everyone. We're going on an adventure. Where are we going? Oh, maybe we landed. I thought, there we go. Now we're taking off. Oh, we're airborne, everyone. And over here we are going to hop into a Douglas DC 1939, and you can definitely tell things are a little bit different in here. These seats are definitely not as comfortable. Ooh. And we are right next to the propeller here. A little more cramped for sure. I can definitely say I would be a lot more uncomfortable in a first flying situation here than in the last one. Another display they have here, this is like the wing walkers and the acrobatic airplane people here. That is a really cool plane that they have here. It looks like a giant fishing lure. It's like a 1917 Curtiss, a Canuck. So you can see they got a guy skywalking on there, and you got spectators over here checking them out. And then inside here, they kind of have a cool display here. This is an actual panoramic thing of being a skywalker here. So you step up on the platform they have here, and then you just got to see if you can take what it takes to be an actual skywalker on the wings of an airplane. And I am already motion sick from watching it, so I can tell you right now, there is no way that I could ever be a skywalker.
Today you'll see it all. An amazing display of aviation acrobatics and the most daring skilled pilots alive in the world. Now watch as our show gets underway. Here comes the king of thrills, the hero of our skyways, one of our very own pilots flying a few amazing stunts just to get warmed up.
Another gigantic plane that they have here. This is a 1925 Fokker FVII Tremor. So this is more of an Arctic plane on here. So you can actually see instead of landing gear, they have skis down here. And you can see they're definitely bundled up, but it's an Arctic exhibition plane that was funded by Ford, I'm assuming. But another massive, massive plane inside of here. All right, we're getting a little bit more back into the industrial side on here. So these are some gigantic, massive engines that they have here. Really cool display of a bunch of gigantic wrenches that they have here that are all silver coated. Must be some memorial that they have here. But you can see these gigantic pistons. Look at that piston, is huge. And these cogwheels, I just can't describe to you guys how big these things actually are in real life. So this section over here is the steam engine section. So this is all dedicated to steam powered mechanism, things like this. So you can see here's a really, really big Cyclone engine, about 1805 it says. And then here's another one here. It's a Thomas Horn engine. It's another 1850. So these are all steam driven engines. Another one here. This is an 1873 steam engine. It's crazy to me that the wheels had to be so big that they dug into the ground here to actually compensate for the wheels. That way they could get the power that they needed. So this is an 1811. And then another ginormous one here. This is an 1821. But you can just see how far down it actually goes down into there. And then actually comes up here with the steam engine on it. And then there's a piston here that goes up and down. It creates energy. Another electrical engine that they have that's actually working here. You can see the massive sheer size of it. So this is an Edison General Electric actual working motor here. And then this over here, this is a little model section up here of actually how the engine worked up here. So you can see here the steam engine we built to a belt drive that would go all the way up top in a factory, and then all the way down and hold the rods, and each little machine had its own belt that it intersected with, and it actually powered these machines through the belt drive. And then here, this is gigantic. You can see the gentleman there giving the tours. He's actually standing next to it. But this is a gigantic wheel that they have that's actually operating here. So this would have a gigantic belt on it that would be driven to something way up in the ceiling up over here. That would be another drive belt. And this would just continually go and power all the equipment that they needed for the factories. All right, look, we found a couple more, 2 more Moldoramas they have here. You got Abraham Lincoln, and you got a 1965 Mustang.
Ohio and
I'm from Dundee, Michigan.
Dundee. Okay. My husband used to go. No, that's different. Is that where Cabela's was? Lived on a ship in World War I, and so he was used to compact spaces, hence the bathroom. And then everything had a place. So what he did, instead of having a dresser in here, he designed. We made up the word ovalving shelves. Here's your dresser, built right into the wall. Isn't that amazing? Like, I want one. I wish somebody would do this because I think it's really cool. I love it. Kids say I put my toys in there. One woman said I do my shoes, whatever you want. So, and then another thing he did, 1946, there was no insulation in homes. So if it was hot outside, he made it to where you could dim your lights. And then if it was cold outside, you could bring the lighting back up and maybe you would feel warmer. Probably not, but maybe. All right, so this revolving shelves as well. And then here's the center of your home. It's a center mast. And right down here is the foundation. It would have been dug down in the ground about 8 feet. What Mr. Fuller wanted to do was house all of the utilities right here in the center. Again, we don't know if it would have worked or not, but that was his goal. So another bathroom here, shelving there, and then I told you about the slits in the roof. Right up here are the covers to those slits, and then look to your right, and here are your indoor gutters. And then on the side, you see the black tubing there. That's where the rainwater would have gone down. Plexiglass, you could not open the window, so how are you going to get? Here's your screen, so you could get fresh air.
You can see here is the foundation, so everything's attached here and then into the ground. But like she was saying, he wanted to run all the electricity, everything through this center here, so it was all centered in one area.
Double. And then if you look at this picture, you can see that right here would have been your refrigerator and your drawers. And even that is very forward thinking. Like 2024, I have drawers in my refrigerator, but in 1946, they just had the one, door, and that was it. Some things here, and then other things we don't, so you can just see all the things.
All right, I think we have one more display here. Your Place in Time, the 20th Century America. Looks like they have a display set up here that has old-timey movies in it.
This is the second time today. It's a full house. Don't worry.
So they got a little display here showing the 1900s and the 1999s here. So you can see the cars here. And then there are some of the modern conveniences of the time. You can see cameras, telephones, tinky winks, all kind of iron, army helmets, hand warmers, toasters. And then we come over here to the 1920s, 1939s. You can see they got Hollywood souvenir stores. Hollywood was really, really popular back in that time. Shirley Temple. And then a newsstand with all the screenplays and photos. And then this is what your modern bedroom would look like, or living room, in October 30th, 1938. This is the War of the Worlds radio set here. So I don't know if anybody's too familiar with War of the Worlds, but War of the Worlds was a fictional story that they did on October 30th. And it kind of set mass panic because everybody thought for real that aliens were attacking. And then 1920s to 1939s, you can see some of the things they had here. Braziers, interesting. Got percolator, you can see where the camera has developed a little bit more. The phone is modernized some. And looks like they got a radio here as well too. And then we got the 1940s to the 1959s. See some tin toys are really, really popular. You can see the stylings of the chairs and all that. Look at that old TV there. And then plastic. Plastic was definitely a big thing. And they have a little music section over here. You can see they got 8-track players, some cool 8-tracks, old school hi-fi with the Zenith record player, and then another Zenith here. So pretty cool display of some music they have here. There's another interesting craze that they were supposed to be doing in housing here, but this is a dome eco setting here. So this is a geodome design that was really popular in 1973 for homeowners. Kind of didn't take off, but still a cool concept. And then here's a couple TVs from way back in the day. It's a 1970s and that's a 1950s. It's like the 60s, they couldn't find one on there, but crazy to think of what we have today with 100-inch TVs. And then we got a little display here, 1950s teens, so you can see the jukeboxes, skirts with the sweaters, 17, the old 45 player over there. Jukebox is really cool. Look, Converse, still Converse are super popular. Love that. Letterman's jacket. And then we're getting to the 60s through 79. See here we have some different stuff. Kool-Aid. Look at that old Kool-Aid packet with Bugs Bunny on it. Tab. Oh, look, birth control. You know that. Camel cigarettes. Science kits. Woodsy the Owl. The Pet Rock. Roots. Shoes. Those are old. Look at that Atari Pong game. That's super cool. We got some more modern telephones too. You can come over here. Have some iconic things in history. Look at these. These are super cool. A computerized perfection game, spelling math. I remember the little professor from Texas Instruments. That's really cool. The Simon, Merlin the Electric Wizard. I totally remember that one. Both of these, the Speak and Spell and the Electronic Football from '77. Those bring back so many core memories. Really neat display Atari they have here. City of ET trash. I totally remember when that happened. ET did not sell very well, so instead of just getting rid of them, they buried a bunch of them, like a whole bunch of them they buried in a landfill, and then somebody actually found them and brought them back. So these are actually some of the things that they found in the burial with all the, so there's Sword Quest, there's Centipede, there's a copy of the ET and the little thing there. So these are actually things that they had found from the burial that they uncovered in 1983. And then now we're over here to 1980 to 1999. Look at those, everyone. Those would probably be worth some money if they weren't in such bad condition. Probably even be worth some money anyways, but a nice vintage Game Boy here. Recorder. Oh, God, I can't think of it. It's been so long. All these little video boxes. Look at the VCR. Those are really old. Apple home computer. That's the first one. Internet in a box. Recycled material. That's when recycling started getting really popular. All the Tamagotchis, the Furbies, with your first cell phones, disposable cameras. A couple more cool things they have over here, like PlayStation, Teen People, Bop, Sports Illustrated Kids, Duncan yo-yos. I was just playing with a yo-yo the other day. It's kind of funny. There's Pokemon. Those are worth some money right there, I know for sure. An Apple iMac computer. A beeper. That's a beeper, everybody. Who remembers what a beeper is? And then they have a whole section over here. Looks like graphic novels and comic books and all that from the past. So some of these are from the 30s. All the way up. Guardians of the Galaxy. That's the first one right there. The Jetsons Lunchbox. That's really cool. The Planet of the Apes. Blade Runner. VHS. Land Speed, the Jetsons toys, Star Trek, the Road Warrior on album. That's on vinyl. That's super cool. That's really neat to see some of those. So this is your typical teenager's room in 1987. You can see they have computer there. You got that old dot matrix printer, dual VHS and that. Cork boards up there. Closet completely full of old retro clothes. Oh, remember those? Definitely remember those. Pictures of places you'll never go. Definitely old wooden. Bob Marley. Got your single bed here. Typical teenager with cigarette butts. Depeche Mode. Your typical teenager's girl room here in 1987, everyone. Alright, and before we end, I think we found the last one here, the last Moldorama here. This is a Christmas tree one. Pretty sure we found every one of them, guys. Alright, everybody, that was our visit to the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan. I want to thank everybody for joining us. If you did like the video, please make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Make sure you follow and subscribe. If you are new to the channel, please make sure you subscribe. Love going to different locations like this, bringing you guys different content, and also make sure you hit that notification bell, and that'll let you know anytime we come and we do anything new. So once again, thank you everybody. Thumbs up for the video, and shout out to the Mustard Mafia, and we will see you next time.